Welcome back to Synergy Bonus after a very long and solitary hiatus. It was so... Quarantine was so lonely, I felt like I was playing the Crystal Chronicles reboot.
Oh no. I get what he means.
Yeah. But we're back, baby. Pulling up a glass of Christmas cheer. The real Christmas drink here. Put that eggnog away.
I actually have some of the boozy eggnog. But we are not talking about eggnog, we're talking about Glögg. And we're actually not talking about Glögg.
We're drinking it.
I will include the recipe as I do, I think, every Christmas.
Every Christmas, yeah.
I will include it here.
Good.
But we are talking about, I almost said Final Fantasy the Crystal Chronicles. We are not doing that. We're talking about Conquest of the Crystal Palace. There was a crystal involved.
There's a crystal involved, and it was Christmas morning for basically nobody in 1990 when this was released.
Yes.
For the Nintendo Entertainment System.
And instead of doing a review, it's more of a, did it hold up? Because you're going to get the review in this anyways, but it's more of a, did it hold up to today?
I suspect, as we usually do, we're just going to talk about the game nostalgically.
I do think of it very nostalgically.
It's a fun game.
It is a very fun game, but it has its shortcomings. Mm-hmm. So why don't we start with the story of Conquest of the Crystal Palace? I love the name. I love the artwork. I mean, okay, the artwork is pretty, like, Mega Man 1-ish bad, but, like, that's what attracted me to it. It had this big monster that you actually fight in Stage 2, and you had your little main character with his dog, and they look nothing like they do in game, but I saw what they were going for.
It's the NES, that happens.
But
I don't know, I kind of like Matt and Doji Demon Heaven Boy, is the original Famicom name. That kind of clicks with me.
I was about to say, I play a game called Demon Heaven Boy, but technically I have.
So this is it's an action platforming game, 2D side scroller. So it's gonna hit all of your retro 2D platforming needs here. You
scroll to the right,
scroll to the left, scroll to the right, stand up, sit down, fight.
Actually, this game does have you going left, right, up, down. It's
all over the place. It's also interesting because the title character, the main character, Farron, I think is his name,
yep.
And his sidekick Zap, the dog, were actually originally made for a fighting game, and then they were just spun off into this. It's a spin-off.
That's neat. Like, I'm assuming Asmic's the one that put this out, correct?
Yes.
Yes. And I have to wonder if it was Asmic that was going to do the fighting game.
Published by Asmic and developed by Quest.
Where's the name? I don't hear it very often. Mm. But I like them as characters, and the game does have a story, but it takes backseat
to the action, as gaming did back in the day with the limitations of the NES's card.
Mm-hmm. Game opens up. It actually just opens up with the title screen: Conquest of the Crystal Palace, or Demon Heaven Boy, or whatever.
As the game did on the NES due to the limitations of the memory card.
And it actually, if you let it set, it runs the demo. And it actually has Farron running across, I don't know if it's a bridge or a mountain, I have that to show you here, but it shows him running with his dog, and his dog just looks like a normal blue dog because that's the color set they used for it. And then,
very limited color palette in this game.
And then a star streaks across the sky, and things just kind of stop, and then when you start the game, it goes, the crystals are glowing, and the crystals kind of shatter apart, and your dog becomes fucking super dog.
Crypto.
Zap, and he basically explains, hey, I was once a keeper in the Crystal Palace, and, you were only a child then, and now's our time to go take it back.
You're the actual heir to this empire, and there was an insurrection, there was a coup, your family was kicked out, and it's time
by the evil
take back
king
your legacy.
Zaros from the infernal realm. And the game gives you a choice right at the start. You have 3 crystals. Instead of doing the smart thing, taking the 3 crystals and going, choose only one for now. And each one does something a little bit different. We have the life crystal, which increases your max life. Nothing more to say about that. And there were 2 other ones.
The fight crystal and the spirit crystal. Can you guess which one he takes?
I take, actually, the life crystal most times.
That's why he knows what it does.
Yes. The fight crystal...
increases the damage you do.
Possibly. And then The other one gives you an extra ability to use it, like a projectile fireball.
Extra projectile weapon, yes.
Yeah, but
Blast, if you will.
you can pick up different types of fireballs as you go through the game. So
basically, each one is for abilities that you will pick up through regular gameplay. They just let you start the game with one of those 3 options already there.
yeah, it's much cheaper in the long run to take the life first, because life upgrades, I believe, cost quite a bit.
A lot of money, yes.
Money is not in short supply, it's just farming. And who wants to farm in a 2D side-scroller?
And then, of course, finding the shop. It's a 2D side-scroller. If you get too far past it, you gotta go back.
Yeah.
RPG elements crammed into a side-scrolling platformer are hit and miss.
Right.
And in this game, I think they're more miss than hit. But...
the story is also told through the shopkeeper, Kim.
And the Crystal News Network.
And the Crystal News
Network. The only
Network.
CNN that I trust. Oh, we're getting a strike for that.
QNN, actually. So as you're talking with her, you're selecting through the menu, and she'll go like, there's a news report, do you want to hear it? And you could just say no and then just keep shopping. But if you say yes, it gives you snippets of the story. And it says, oh, the Crystal Princess was kidnapped. The very first stage. This is what it is. This is Mount Bureau News reporting. And it changes every stage. It tells you basically the name of the stage.
Tells you the name of the stage, what's going on in the story.
And what happened previously.
Your accomplishments in the last stage, which is kind of nice if you're using like a save file and so on.
There is no save file in this one, by the way.
Sorry, save state.
A save state. If you're playing it in current gen, I shouldn't say current gen, but if you're playing an emulator, save state. If you're playing on the NES, you just got to do it on a one go. And it's rough. It's really rough. But
well, it's meant to be rough. It's one of those old arcade cabinet games that was designed to eat your quarters in the arcade.
So the long and the short of it, you are going back to the Crystal Kingdom to
reclaim your birthright.
Reclaim your birthright and defeat the evil King Zaris from the Infernal Realm. That is the story, with your guardian dog, Zap. How many stages are there, sir?
5.
Five stages.
5 stages and a hidden boss.
Now, I didn't realize there was a hidden boss up until this year.
When we were doing research for this video, is actually when we learned that there was, in fact, a hidden boss. And he's been playing this since you were, like, what, 8?
I was really, really, really young.
You've been playing this for decades, and he's just like, wait, what? There's a hidden scene?
Yes. And it's super convoluted in how you get to it. I would have never thought to do that. Because Stage 2 is... long, and it has some design flaws, we'll say.
Some pretty repetitive design assets is how I phrased it.
There are... should we touch on the mechanics a little bit about the game? Okay, so, as we said, 2D platformer. Normally in a 2D platformer, if there's a hole, you fall down it, you die. That is generally how it is.
It's generally how it is, and in much of the game, it's how it is.
Yep.
Not Stage 2.
Not Stage 2. And Farron kind of floats a little bit when he jumps.
The controls on Farron could be tighter.
Right, like when you hit things with him, it's decisive, there's a good hitbox, it works, it feels well.
But his movements on the directional pad are lacking.
When you jump, especially. Only when you jump. Because when you're moving normally, you're fine. But when you jump, he floats a bit. And when you get hit, there is some massive knockback. So much knockback that freaking Simon Belmont and Trevor Belmont would be, like horrified.
Wait a minute. Yeah. It's bad.
But the problem with Stage 2 is there's a hole, and it doesn't kill you. It just sends you back to the beginning of the stage.
Several holes that send you back to the beginning of the stage, which are coupled with some blind jumps.
Yes, and things that fall from the ceiling.
And some bullet hell sections.
Mm-hmm. There's a lot of that. And as you said, the stage repeats itself.
Mm-hmm.
Now...
So, once you've found the shop, we've mentioned the shopkeeper with Kim and all that.
She appears twice in this.
After the second shop, if you go down the first pit that looks like it's going to send you back to the beginning of the stage, or the checkpoint.
At that point.
It actually sends you down to a secret screen where there's a secret hidden boss, where you have to do this to actually find the Crystal Princess and get the true ending to the game.
Yes, and the boss essentially looks like a good old version of Guan Yu of all things. I mean, this game is very Asian themed.
Nothing wrong with that.
So much so that it actually got censored in areas.
Yep.
I'm thinking Stage 3. In the US version, on the walls, it looks like screaming faces, and then there's like all these insects and stuff just floating around on poles and whatnot.
You're supposed to be traveling through the bowels of hell.
Yes, and it turns out in the normal version, those faces look a little different, and the enemies aren't insects. They were
like fetuses or something like that.
Yeah, like it's interesting to see what they changed in that stage in particular to what they did with the.
It's actually pretty heavily censored in that they redid the entire background for the stage for this one.
And, stage 3 is a standard platforming stage. There's some blind jumps there. The game suffers a lot from blind jumps. Stage 4, you're basically in hell at this point. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of fire, a lot of knockback, a lot of just readily made death. And then there's stage 5, which is the final stage, and it's
a maze. It's
bullshit.
Actually a maze where you have to go through the correct doors in the correct sequence to get to the final boss fight. And my God, we had a guide, and it took us an hour and a half to get the right combination of doors.
I'm going to be straight honest with you. We didn't even finish. I got frustrated enough because, you went in the wrong one. Here's the green man again, and fighting the green man just isn't. It's not pertinent. It doesn't.
It's fun once, just to be like, okay, yeah, I got him. That was gratifying.
The other bosses in the game are way better than this, and I have only beaten this game one time, and it wasn't when I was recording. King Zaras is basically just a big Tengu head that comes out of the ground, and it like vomits stuff at you, and things fall from the ceiling, and it's just a straight, I don't want to say tank and spank fight, but essentially just dodge and
DPS.
Yeah.
Dodge and DPS.
The music to this game is absolutely phenomenal.
Music by Musaharu Iwata of Ogre Battle, Tactics Ogre, Final Fantasy Tactics, Final Fantasy 12. You seeing anything here like this?
Yeah, so
this is a good soundtrack.
It is a great soundtrack. The boss fight, the stage music, everything's good. Even like the death music, like the little jingle that you get right before you go to a game over.
You're going to hear that a lot, by the way.
Yes, it's very, very catchy. And the game over screen, I do want to touch on the game over screen here, because the music there is just great, but it has Farron hanging from a rope as lava's rising to just engulf him, while his little dog over there is barking at you to press start.
It's referencing one of the Thousand Hells of Buddhist folklore.
Yes, it's just, but the soundtrack is great. The boss battle music and the final boss battle music are different, and I know sometimes on the NES that wasn't ever the case, so it's much appreciated. And I should have realized that there was something special that I missed way back when, because you can press the buttons on the title screen to pull up the sound test, because some NES games had a hidden sound test, and one of the tracks I'm like, I have never heard this before. And then I beat the special boss. I'm like, there it is. And then there's the Crystal Princess. I'm like, okay, I get it. I appreciate that.
Yeah. I think that's what triggered the whole thing. Was the whole quest is to rescue the Crystal Princess and take back your kingdom. And he'd commented that he'd beaten the game, but he'd never seen the Crystal Princess. She wasn't actually in the game. That must have been some oversight in the booklet or the manual. I'm like, well, let's see if they ever address that. Oh no, she's in the game.
Just hidden really well in stage 2. Enemy designs, the boss characters look great, with the exception of stage 4 and stage 3, which it's just like a floating ball. But
so that's 2 out of 5 for anybody who's keeping score.
But the first stage has 2 bosses. It's got the guy that fly Keelix.
Kektar and Keelix.
Yep. One flies across the top of the screen and dive bombs you. The other is like this to me, he looks almost like a lizard knight, but he patrols the bottom, and it's a tandem fight. So there's 2 bosses there, and then if you also count the mini boss, the guy with the sword and his fake zap,
sure.
So there are
the Green Man and the hidden boss,
which is the Green Man, actually.
A lot of the bigger characters and all that are just really pretty and fun to look at. The same cannot be said of all of the backgrounds. I'm looking here in stage 1. I have a hard time differentiating the foreground from the background here. And
graphically, it fails in some places.
It gets better the further you progress through the game.
Stage 2 is a very pretty looking stage, although it is very repetitive.
I'm of the opinion is a matter of game design, especially in a game that's this difficult. Stage 1 is the one that most people are going to see. That's the one that you need to make really pop and stand out. Take a look back at our conversation, our stage select for Super Ghouls and Goblins, and like the first stage, the graveyard there, just how varied and colorful and how much that's distinctive and it has a feel for the game. This one, you're jumping and climbing a mountain, and that may be a platform you can stand on, or it may just be background. Good luck.
Yes, that's the problem. The background, foreground stuff, and it just it starts in the day and it goes to night. You have dawn, and then you fight at the top of the mountain. I mean, it's a cool scenario, but like when those color changes happen, especially when it's going to the dawn hours, because the mountain itself is like a white blue, and then you have this pink white, and it's a light pink color, and it like,
which is a neat effect.
It is a neat effect, but like it is very jarring, and it's like, okay, is this background, is this foreground? Oh, I can stand on both. Yeah. It's one of those things. Now, as Trav said, like it gets better as you go, but it also gets worse as you go. Stage 2 is very pretty. Stage 3, there's black on the background, aside from those screaming heads periodically. That's it.
But it works, kind of.
And stage 4, it's another black background with platforms, and then you got the fire. The final stage is the castle, and then you've got the castle background, the castle inside. It goes back to that stage 2 aesthetic. So, I mean, graphically, it's great in areas, and graphically, it fails in areas.
I feel like there was a lot that they wanted to do with this game, and they probably had technological limitations holding them back.
So I guess at the end of this now, does it hold up today?
That's the question, yeah.
I don't think it does. I think it holds up as a time killer only. I mean, for me, it has a nostalgia factor. I like to go and play old games that I've played forever. But like someone new coming into it, it's hard to recommend. And it's like unless you want to try a platform you've never tried, definitely go to this. But like there are other platforms from that time frame that do it better.
Or other platforms from this time frame. I'm looking at Shovel Knight
that do it better. Like
I am going to disagree here, though. I think that this is a game that's begging for a remastering.
I was going to actually say that.
Sort of Bionic Commando rearmed style.
I would actually prefer to see it done in the style of like Shantae.
Shantae the Half Genie Hero, a little more cartoony,
where it's
a little
actually
more
like hand drawn or whatnot.
Yeah.
Whereas Bionic Commando was 3D, 2D, which it worked for what it was, but like
it made it just seem very militaristic and cybernetic.
It worked for that. For this, I would love to see that hand drawn style.
Something softer, more hand drawn, more anime style. Yeah,
actually, better yet, Hollow Knight.
Yeah,
Hollow Knight. That style would be
Hollow Knight or Ori in the Blind Forest, something like that.
It would work well, and
that very sort of soft, sort of Studio Ghibli kind of look. Yeah,
and I think too, if you could get the the same soundtrack there, just remaster it and get more traditional
score it actually
traditional instruments in there, score it and whatnot. Those songs will sound phenomenal. I can guarantee you, if you look up at OC Remix or even on YouTube, I doubt you're going to find any remixes. And if you do, link them to me, please, because I really enjoy the music in this game. Yeah. But for me, does it hold up as a time killer? Not as I need to absolutely play this game over and over again.
I'm going to have to agree there. I wouldn't go out of my way for this, but since we already have it as a novelty, yeah, I'm very happy with it. I'm very happy to play it. I'm very happy to watch him play it, mostly because he can get farther than I can. God, I just admitted to actually being a gaming journal right there.
But actually, if any of you watching have played it, what are your thoughts on the game? Like, do you agree with us that this holds up or doesn't hold up? And what are your thoughts and feelings on it? Does it deserve a remaster?
I think it absolutely does.
I agree. I wholeheartedly agree.
If a remastering of this came down, I would be probably not first in line, but like among the first in line to either put down a Kickstarter or a backing, or to actually just buy a copy of this.
Yeah.
You know.
I'd actually like to see it expanded upon too. Flush out the story a little bit more, and it could be improved so many ways nowadays.
Heck, give me a prequel so I can see the actual
Fall of the Crystal Kingdom.
So. There's the title.
Fall of the Crystal Kingdom. Wow, yeah. I like that.
Yeah.
So, I want to cut this here, so...
Yeah, we're running a little longer than we intended, but...
But, that happens when you talk about nostalgia games and whatnot. But, with that, good night, good gaming, enjoy the holidays, and we will hopefully see you regularly. So, good night, good gaming.
Here's to a new year.